Hello, everybody. So this past weekend, I had a Chop Championship, which I took Haven into, and I ended up actually winning the whole thing. Um, the decks I versed in top eight were the first round being against Dragon Natura. After that, it was Sword Natura, and then it was Kuon in the finals. To be honest, the closest matchup was definitely the Sword. I had the least experience against them, but this is actually the exact build I took into the Shop Championship that got me the victory. Um, there are definitely some changes I would make, and I'm going to explain my choices here. And with set 8 coming out tomorrow, because I'm actually recording this on the 6th, um, I'll say what changes I would have made for this tournament for those who don't have a chance to get any BP-08 stuff, and the stuff I will change for BP-08 later in the video. But first, I want to explain my choices past the standard picks. If it's a standard pick, I'll just say standard, honestly, just to go by it a little bit quicker, right? Like the amulet, saintly core, nun, Robo Falcon, right? These are just standard. Like you just pick three because you want to see them as much as humanly possible, right? Um, but where the first like kind of optional pick comes in is with Robo Goblin. Honestly, not a big fan. I picked him because he was a two drop that could technically be revived through her. I'm so bad with names. Limonia. Um, it could be revived, which is definitely nice. He's a 2/2, turn 2, gives you a turn 2 curve, like kind of somewhat aggro if you don't see like Nun or Robo Falcon, because generally you do want to kind of not play your heretical sisters unless you have five repair modes for the free search, right? It just gives you an overall a little bit smoother of a curve. But personally, I wasn't a fan. I'll put the picture of the card I'm talking about. I'm once again bad with names, so I do apologize. Um, the 2-drop 2/1 Lion Storm. I probably would have cut this down to maybe a one of for the niche situations where the Evolve Pop does come in use. And I would have actually put three in. And there's another cut I'll talk about in a second later on, um, that also would have kind of been helpful. But overall, Robo Goblin as a three of was honestly, in my opinion, a mistake. He didn't help me at all get any wins. He his last word, put a repair mode in the EX area, is super niche. Like it's just not worth it. As one of at most, if you don't run it at all, literally, I don't blame you. You could cut all three for the Tiger if you wanted to. Augmentation bestowed, it's standard. You run three. If you open a really good, you can turn four Technolord, which is absolutely insane. So Techno, like this card is absolutely insane. It literally just says banish two or five and just summon whatever you need. It fixes problems. Um, Lamonia, standard. Honestly, she's literally the bread and butter to the deck. She clears the entire enemy board. She revives. Usually, if you have no repair modes, I always revive Iron Knuckle. And if I have enough, I will revive Robo Falcon for the Storm. And it would go to a 2/3 Storm, right? So it's like actually good. But if you don't have at least two repair modes, it's kind of like, unless they're really low, that one damage isn't going to be massive as much as blocking and getting two repair modes, you know? So overall, if you're low on repair modes, if you have less than two, you go Iron Knuckle. If you're greater than two or more, you go Robo Falcon. If you, unless circumstances are changed where you really need the ward, right? Or they're really low and that Robo Falcon could actually give you game. Honest, that's kind of when the changes would be made. Marlone, this is the other guy I would make a change. He's kind of a not amazing card, my opinion. put a repair up. Each player puts a repair mode in their EX area. So it's nice to be able to like, hey, he's a 3-drop that puts a repair mode in your EX area, right? And his evolve effect is like not bad, where if you have 5 cards in the EX area, you can destroy a 5 cost for 4 mana. It's not bad overall, and you get a 4/4 body on board, right? So I wouldn't cut him. I'd lower him to 2 personally. And like I was saying before, with the Goblin, I would cut him down to 1 or cut him all together. You could go either route personally. Um, Between this, you could cut 3 to 4 cards, and there would definitely be the 2-drop Storm Tiger card, because more Storm is always nice. Plus, like if you have that on board and you revive this, it becomes a 2/3. That becomes a 3/3 for 2 mana. This becomes a 3/3 ward for 2 mana. It's honestly a really good card. I do kind of regret not putting it in. For BP-08, I will 100% be putting it in, because you can honestly revive it with the new card in BP-08. So it's 100% going in. For Machina, Mechwing Angel as a 2 of, honestly, I think is a good spot. I think 3 is too many. And 1, you're not going to see it enough, because she's still a ward for 3/3 ward, and she's even better if you have the 5 Machina cards in your graveyard, because now she can snipe something for 4, and that's just massive, right? And she's a Machina name, which is always really good, because sometimes you're going to need names to banish for your your Techno Lord. You can't revive her, so she's an easy choice, right, to banish. That's the other thing about Marlon. Marlin? I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry. Light of Balance is he's not Machina, so you can't even like, he's literally just a faith. So like, there's been many times I would like Saintly Core, right, and then I would see like her heretical sister, and I would see Light of Balance, and I'd be like, wow, both these cards are good, but neither of them are Machina, so my Saintly Core whiffs. She is Machina, though, and she's a ward that puts her an assembly droid or repair mode. You're gonna pick repair mode 99.999% of the time. I'm gonna be honest. I think I picked repair mode once my entire time playing this deck, and it was super niche, and I don't even know if it won me the game, or if it was like, if I could have just chose repair mode, I would have been fine, kind of deal. I did win that game, but I don't think it was because I picked assembly droid, right? Because like between assembly droid and her, right, if you have one more name, it's 9 damage to a target. That's the one niche situation. 5 off of assembly droid, 4 off of her. But you need names, right? Like, that's 2 is a good number for her personally. And then Jeanne d'Arc. Honestly, this card was so insane, because one of the big like, she fixes, not, she doesn't fix, but she's a pseudo board clear on your opponent's side of the field, where she can ping everything for 4, which is huge. But the other thing a lot of people don't think of, or don't think of it, because I've seen a lot of online builds and not many people run Sean. This becomes a 6-drop, a 6 health, that infinitely is getting attack each turn. You have to deal with this, and it has 6 life. She gets 5 life with ward. That is huge. Like, these wards going to 5 life is really good. This ward goes to 7 life. Like, it buffs your wards. It makes, like, for example, it puts her out of range of dying to, I'll put a picture of the card, but it's like a vanilla, it's a neutral card, costs 8, control Abyss plays it, swing, do 5 to everything. She usually dies, she'll survive it, actually, with 1 life, which is huge, because a lot of control Abyss players always play her, because she's like such a strong revive target. The other thing as well is this can be used offensively, where if you have a lot of cards that can swing directly, you can clear their like wards or their board and then swing directly. And the last thing is with Aether, You actually on turn 9 is usually when you would do it, if anything. Like not turn 9 only, but turn 9 and later is when you would do this. You'd Aether, and you can summon Jeanne d'Arc to do damage, and then you can evolve Jeanne to do 2 more damage, but you're also making her a 7 ward. So you can potentially clear their board and make a pretty beefy ward on turn 9. Pretty solid. So it has multiple uses. Honestly, I think Sean was a huge importance to this build. It made a lot of problems that I thought I would have against some decks, not problems. Father of Refinement, just absolutely insane card. This card was the fact it's a 5-drop that restores 2 play points on summon and puts 2 repair mode tokens in your EX area with Rush. This card's insane. It's a 4/4, yeah, but like all that you're getting on summon is massive. Plus, if you draw a card and if there's 5 repair modes in your EX area, you draw 2. Like this card is actually insane. If you're playing 2, bump it to 3. It is disgusting. I have seen 1 or 2 builds only run 2, and they're like, "Oh, I don't like it," but I think they're wrong. This card is absolutely a 3 of. Takagaki. So with her, I used to run 1. I think 3 is a little too much, and 1 has problems. Yes, you could argue, well, she's searchable off of Heretical Sister. That is true, but this is the better search, Aether, right? And if she's in your hand, Aether loses a lot of power. That's incredibly important to note. So having 2 is good because it makes Aether always versatile. It has so many different routes you could choose go down, that it's just overall 2 is the right number. I think one time I had both of them in my hand. It just helps fix the having her in your hand problem. Because this card is just absolutely insane. 2 Technolord. I tested 3. It's a little too much. There are plenty of games I won without even playing Technolord that game. I think 2 is a really good number. Like, it's good because you can burn and destroy for like going for game, or you can like add and destroy or burn and add, right? Like it's disgusting, but generally you don't want to hard summon these as much as you want to augmentation it. So you kind of want to reduce how many you see in your hand. So overall, I think Technolord being at 2 with this particular deck with Haven, I think is the correct number. I think 3 is just a little too much, and 1 you'll never. It's not good. I think 1 is just, unless it is kind of expensive, being $20 at the moment. So if you can only get 1, it's better than none. Obviously, like absolutely, but I definitely think 2 is the right number, and Aether being at 1, I think is also the right number because you can search her when you want her, right? And you have so many good targets. Turn 9, you can Sean, like I was saying before, and kind of do 4 to everything. If you have 5, repair modes, you could choose Flawed Saint, remove them all your repair modes, and then evolve her, because this doesn't evolve, to guarantee clear their board, unless so they have like a Heavenly Aegis or something. And then you can revive like none, or like if you want, you could go down like the Robo Falcon route, right? It really depends on the situation, but you have like a really good board at that point. Off 1 card, you cleared their board, and you have 3 wards to 2 wards in a storm. Like, absolutely insane card. But you don't want to see it too much because it's 7 mana, right? So it's a lot of mana. So you don't want to see her. You want to search her or draw into her probably around turn 5. Is like technically turn 7 would be the most ideal to top decker, but I think turn 5 and later is fine. Or you can, like I said, you can just search it out with her, right? Makot. Yeah, Marco. I don't know. I'm sorry. I know I'm making people cringe at how I'm pronouncing names. Sorry. I think the evolve is kind of standard. Like I said, one Robo Goblin for the very niche situations. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll evolve him to summon the assembly droid, put the assembly droid on board, but suicide with my crash, whatever you want to call it, with the Robo Goblin to get the repair mode. But super niche. That's why it's a one of. She, Heavenly Saint and Robo Falcon guarantee two ofs. Honestly, if you want to cut this, and like I said, you're gonna cut him all together, you could probably put him at two. I don't know what I would do personally. If I cut this, probably put him at two. But honestly, I haven't been a massive fan of him either. But two Sean actually is nice having five board clears through your evolve is pretty solid. Keeps the pressure on because you're not playing a lot of spells or amulets. You play three of each, three spells, three amulets. That being Heavenly Core and Augmentation Bestowal. So you kind of need ways to build in destruction with this deck to make it work. That being with Takagaki and Mechwing Angel helps with that, right? Like, he's a pseudo version, right? Like Father of Refinement pseudo, because you're crashing in with him, right? But like the rush helps, and like you're getting a draw two anyways, so it's like you summon him, you get two of your mana back, you swing in, you draw two, you're hopefully killing one of their bodies, and kind of for 3 mana, you're killing a body, drawing two. That's, if you look at it as a spell, that's actually insane. So this was my build for the championship, and now we will go into BP-08 changes. So this is my BP-08 build for Machina. There's a couple changes that I want to go over. The first thing is we cut out Light of Balance of Light. I can't remember his name. And we also cut out Robo Goblin all together. The reason why is just room with Light of Balance. I tried to see if maybe I can fit him as one of, but I don't think it really works. And then Robo Goblin is just honestly not that great. In fact, I even was talking about how in set 7 you could completely cut him. Our first change is Amethyst Lion. This card, whenever another follower with Storm Reward is in your field, give it one attack. That's huge because Robo Falcon instantly becomes a 2/3 into a 3/3, and then when you swing with evolved Robo Falcon, it becomes a 4/3. That's huge. Nun, Iron Knuckle Nun becomes a 3/3. 3/3 ward for 2 mana is just insane. She becomes a 4/3. That's pretty solid. She becomes a 4/5, 4/5, like that. Those are all really good, right? So this card overall just makes the deck stronger. Its weakness is it has 1 life, which means you can kind of snipe it easy and kill it. But like if you're going aggro, like having 6 2-cost storms in your deck can be really useful to really putting on the pressure to like the slower later in the build. Like they wait for the mana to ramp before they start doing stuff. That's where this really starts to shine. And then way later in the game it'll shine again, which I'll show why in a second. But before, we're going to go to the other change, which is we're adding a maxed out amount of Vengeful Radiance. This is because of the fact that it is a 2-card. It is 1 card that can kill 2 cards, which is already insane, and it's only for 2 mana. But decks like Puppet and decks like 2-cost do like wider boards, to my watching and research. Now, because of that, being able to kill 2 cards with 1 card is huge for such a low cost of mana. But you can also use it to kill a stronger card that has 4 life. A perfect example would be an evolved Flawed Saint. If they evolve her, and during the end phase, you can just use 2 mana to kill it. That's, in a mirror match, really strong, having a way to kill a Flawed Saint, because a lot of more skilled players won't swing with their Flawed Saint unless it's incredibly safe to do so. So having ways to hit her while she's untapped is honestly just massive, which also, once again, Mecha Wing can do as well. The last change is Ishtar was added to the deck as a 2 of. Putting our deck into a little bit higher on the curve than BP-07, but if we get to this higher curve, which there's no reason why we shouldn't, it becomes way stronger, right? So we look at this, it says select 2, it's a ward, 5/6, so it will get buffed off of him if he's already on board when you drop him, right? But you select 2 Haven followers with 2 or less and summon them, which could be him from Grave, which then will buff whatever you're bringing out, right? Between Robo Falcon, Iron Knuckle, even Heretical Sister, which, if you, fun fact, you revive Heretical Sister off this guy and you have the 5 repair modes, you'll get the search of any card and add it to your hand. It's insane. So this guy, in theory, can create follow-up for your deck if you have 5 repair modes. And he's a ward, she's a ward, so you have 2 wards on board for 7 mana. And if you summon him, she will get 1 attack, but he will not, because he'll already be on board. Once again, I'm going off of the rulings I was told. The rulings say if they're summoned simultaneously, she would get the attack still. So this card is insane, and if you do that, and let's say in theory you get the add off of Heretical Sister, you can add Aether for your next turn, because you'll be at 8 mana, you'll be able to summon Aether, which then in theory summons Holy Lord Ishtar, which then can bring her back again for another add, and him back again. Now for 1 card, you just create almost a full board off 1 card on turn 8. So this card creates a lot of power, and you can banish 3 Haven followers from your cemetery and give all your followers 1/1. So like she becomes a 3/4, he becomes a 3/2. This is each other, so he actually doesn't get it, but she would, and she becomes a 4/6. So overall, like, he creates a lot more power for the deck and consistency in the later game. So it does become worth, and you do cut Heretical Sister down to 2 because of room, and same with Mecha Wing, you cut her down to 1 because of room. Because you kind of need this Vengeful Radiance card in your deck for this set. It's honestly just an insane card as a whole. But this is my build. For your evolved cards, you're just going to do the standard, max it out. Max out your Flawed Saint, max out your Robo Falcon. And then honestly, you'll probably max out Jean at that point because you don't have enough. And then you just run 9. You can run whatever you want. It's your 10th because you only have 3 evolves in this deck. It's a very non-evolve oriented variant, but it does yield insane results. But this is the build I personally would recommend for BP-08. If things are to change, and I feel like other changes are going to need to be made, I will always make more videos, updating, stuff like that. But thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Next video will be, should be at least Haven Amulet BP-08, the builds I plan on running. And we'll go from there. Bye.